and that's why the screen's going red constantly. And there we go, one perfectly
skin and the top of
formed
the skull.
brain. And then just like Mr. Burns would do.
Hello. Look at me, I'm Davy Crockett.
Hello everybody, I am Muddy Dragon. I am joined by
Dejected Brewing 55.
Today we are checking out Autopsy Simulator. So I've just recorded a few episodes without any commentary on it, and I just thought I'd record the commentary a bit later, but also have her join me for this.
Sounds right up the
Office
street.
of the
I
Medical
loved it
Examiner,
all.
Peatsville. Dr. Jack Hadman is speaking. How can I help you?
Good evening, this is Kate Brooks. I'm
And
not
for
sure if you
those
remember
who
me.
think,
A
oh, this
few
is
weeks ago,
an
we talked
autopsy
about an article we're
simulator,
working on.
it kind of
It's
is
about
and
your
it kind
life.
of
I
isn't,
dropped by last Friday to speak to you,
because
but
you're
you
not
weren't
actually
working at the time.
doing
I asked the security guard to pass on the note for
autopsies
me.
as you would
I'd
expect to be
like
doing.
us to discuss the topic of
I thought I had made it painfully obvious for the last time. No! Please don't call me again and stop inquiring about my wife. Damn journalists. They don't let me work. God damn it. I'm not in the best frame of mind to record a lecture for my students now. I'm feeling completely broken. Where did I leave my meds this time?
Alright, so we got to go.
Check the bathroom for your pill.
Yeah. Conveniently, it's right across the hall. In the bathroom. So, I mean, you'd
Okay.
expect it to be like a
Just have
real
to pull myself
simulator
together.
where you can just autopsy all these different people, but it's not.
Yeah,
And get back to
Not
work.
like that.
that's a person in that mirror.
I need to set up the
Like a-
camera first. This place is starting to look like a hoarder's. Now remember, Jack, don't forget, hit the record button this time.
And it is a very, very spooky game.
Is it?
It's got the few elements here and there.
What was that other one that was set in a funeral director's home? This is giving me
Oh.
similar
A
vibes.
mortuary assistant.
Hopefully the new tripod
Pretty
is
much
going to
the
hold
same
up.
thing in a way. But that gives you more to do in
I
some
just
ways.
have to
That
get
gives you
everything in
more
frame.
things to do than this one does. But this one has you actually doing proper stuff to
November
people.
20th,
It's got a lot of
1991.
details to it
Time,
because it had
8:43
actual
PM.
medical
According to
professionals,
medical
people that actually do this for a
students,
living.
This autopsy is
They actually
conducted by Jack
helped
Hadman.
make
Hello,
this game,
everyone.
including
Welcome
police
to
and
the
stuff like
autopsy.
that.
Oh, cool.
Today, you will have the dubious pleasure of following a full autopsy, step by step. For those of you who have already performed your first autopsy, this will refresh your basic knowledge. In turn, for those whose knowledge is only theoretical, I advise not to watch this after a meal. Always wear an apron, mask,
Oh,
and
it's
gloves.
important.
Goggles are a must when the job is splashy. And in case of sharp accidents, it's worth having disinfectants at hand. It's true that you won't get ptomaine poisoning straight away, but if your liver or kidney aren't doing well, you may end up with diarrhea.
Nice.
The cadaver is placed on its back on the autopsy table. The pathologist stands on the right of the deceased. Make sure that all the necessary tools are always at hand so that you don't have to run around looking for something, like I do all the time. In the process of revealing and securing forensic evidence, it is difficult not to interfere with the original condition of the deceased. Written and photographic documentation plays a vital role throughout the entire examination process. During your research, be patient, inquisitive, but above all, attentive to detail. Many entries are visible at first glance, but sometimes they can be cover for more interesting stories. And lastly, remember that nothing teaches you self-narration like working with the dead. So get used to that fact soon. Everyone will think you're talking to yourself.
Perfect.
There's going to be a lot of medical stuff,
That will contain
jargon,
all sorts of pertinent
that
information as
no
to
one's
who the
going to
deceased
know
might be
what it fucking
and what
means.
potentially happened to them. So, let's take a closer look, shall we?
Now, where's the police folder, I hear you ask?
Next to the instruments. You hear me say.
Oh, you must have seen it earlier then.
The deceased's name is Tobias Chambers, locally known as Old Toby. Homeless and unemployed for at least a couple of years. The deceased was found on the outskirts of a parking lot at a gas station, where he often begged and persistently offered drivers to wash their car windows. The body was noticed by a station employee during the morning shift. Initially, he thought that someone had thrown some boots and a coat in a nearby ditch. It took him a moment to
Wow.
recognize the pile of clothes as the body of a man. He worked most of his life at the local port dealing with unloaded cargo. He was fired for being drunk and starting fights. His son runs a hardware store on his own. His wife left him years ago. They both had no contact with the deceased. Signs of libation were found around the body. Empty bottles, traces of an inept attempt to start a fire, and a scattered makeshift blanket. It's worth remembering the context around
Right, so
the
we're going to have a
scene
little
of death.
game.
This allows you to better interpret
It's
any
called
traces found
How
in the
Did They
body.
Die?
I shouldn't start the procedure without gloves.
But
Now
yes,
it's our turn to
who
take some
is going to have a
pictures
guess
for
of
our
how they
files.
died?
Just
What's
remember
your
where I left
guess?
the camera.
Either hypothermia or
here
liver
somewhere.
damage.
No, it says here, pick up the photo
There
camera
you are.
from the desk
I knew
drawer.
it was
Now,
here
I
somewhere.
cut out this section because I went off to my office to look for it
As
in
I
the desk
mentioned at
because
the
it said
beginning,
desk.
Before we begin the internal examination,
Who else would do
we need
that?
to document the cadaver
you've
and
just
the
said
condition
I'm
it arrived
blonde?
in.
It
We
said
begin with a
desk.
full
I
body
am
photo.
blonde,
It
but
said
Stick to the
desk.
top-down rule.
So I went to
But
the
this is
fucking
not always
desk,
possible.
not the
Let's keep
desk
in mind
in the
it's all
room.
about the legibility, not the perfect frame.
Then now you take a photo
Well,
of
now we
the
move on to the
deceased,
next step. Looking for
and you
traces.
take
General
the
photo.
more photo.
Look at the corpse from different sides.
Oh yeah, what was you
from
saying
different
about how they
angles,
died?
up close,
Hypothermia or
and from
liver
a distance.
damage.
You're looking
Okay.
for anything out of the ordinary.
Anyone else want to have a guess? Not that I can respond to what you say until after the videos come out, but still. So we've got all these different things to look over, and it might make you change your mind.
The boiler yield wound looks old. I'll take a closer look later.
Ooh, gammy.
I had a drown victim
Did you?
last night. That was a weird one. That was something.
Some wounds in the feet.
Their body was
Signs of
all
frostbite. Probably
green
because
and
the subject's
bloated and
shoes were
stuff.
too small.
If he's got frostbite, it was definitely cold. I'm still sticking with hypothermia.
Okay, that's your answer.
Well, hypothermia, liver damage, I may change all the way. I mean,
Hardened
even at this
hands,
point, I bet
worn out by
autopsy
physical
people
work
think,
and
yeah, he died of that.
Frostbite?
And then they find out.
Yeah, well, we've got plenty of time to continue our theories.
That's something interesting. It will be necessary to check whether this injury was severe enough to cause damage to the brain. In a moment, we will check which of our initial observations will be worthy of further consideration. But before we get to that, I need to write down some basic data.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes.
Personal information.
So here we go, we've got the name of them, we've got the age, we've got everything.
As you can see, I note everything
we
down
can
on
start
previously
putting
prepared
in
forms. Every pathologist must keep a
information.
detailed record of every step of the autopsy. This not only allows you to track the procedure,
This is where
but
all the
also
medical
collates the
jargon
results
comes in,
together,
the words
upon which
that
you
I've
may
never
back
heard
up
of
your
in my
conclusions.
life.
So, enough of the boring prep. Let's
Alright.
begin by taking a closer look at the spots I photographed
Possibly,
earlier.
possibly not.
For this, you're going to need a magnifying glass.
Quite a nice selection of tools.
Which spot first? I can confirm the presence of ecchymosis on the deceased man's head. The appearance indicates the intravital nature of the wound. Add alcohol, which I can clearly smell, and this was an accident just waiting to happen.
I do appreciate the level of detail that has
Yeah.
gone into
It looks like a burn mark, no
this.
doubt painful, but it's not pertinent for this case.
I mean, even though he's got frostbite on these feet, you
Definitely
should
a
be able to let
painful
me look
mix
at
of
both feet, not
frostbite,
just the one.
Yeah.
abrasions, and blisters. Old Toby had been wearing shoes too small for him for a very long time. That's if he wore any at all.
I've got no idea how many bodies
Here we can
there
see frostbite
are
on
in
the
the game.
fingertips.
I don't
We can
even know how
tell
many
by the
chapters there
characteristic
are.
skin
But there is
color.
quite a good selection.
So far, there are a lot of superficial wounds, but only one serious injury
You
to the
got
head.
someone
Let's go back
who
to
I
our
think is
notes.
in the next video is a overdose, possible overdose, I should say.
First,
Now what do
I
I do?
mark the
I'll
location
highlight.
of the injuries and make notes for each one. So, the head wound. Definitely an important clue. This is something we'll investigate first. Even though this type of wound didn't contribute to the deceased's death, we're still required to record it. We're not in frost season yet, but high humidity, wind, and the inability to warm up can also be causes of frostbite. If Toby's body was cold for a prolonged period, the frostbite could have resulted from the body's defense reaction. The safety of the internal organs is more important than fingers, nose, or ears. As you can see, we don't have much to go on. Let's write down what preliminary causes of death we can think of. Various types of accidents are a common cause of death among the homeless and the elderly. Perhaps old Toby slipped and accidentally hit his head. Considering the conditions in which he slept, this is of no interest to us. The nights have been particularly nasty lately. We will check if there are any signs of freezing internally. Since the deceased clearly smelled of alcohol, I'll add alcohol poisoning to our list. We still have one thing left from the basics, rigor mortis. Well, we take our deceased by the hand, gradually re-raise it.
Some of the controls on this were a bit tricky. Because the
They look it.
freaking mouse, you have to like get it in a certain position, you have to do it a certain way, and especially when you're cutting stuff, which you'll find out
Yeah.
is horribly tricky to do. And when you start to fail, that's when the screen starts to go red.
Now let it go.
And
As you
then
can see,
You have to
the hand falls loose.
do
What's the
stuff.
conclusion? Death must have occurred more than
So down the
72
bottom it
hours
says
ago.
accident,
The police
natural.
information appears correct.
sorted himself out, unknown, homicide.
Unaliving himself.
That's what you think it was. Okay.
Head
No,
trauma
that's
seems the
one
most
of the other
promising.
options.
So we'll start there. For this,
Yeah.
I need
I
an
couldn't think of
oscillating saw.
I can't remember the words for it. But yeah, so you're still on accident, you say.
I still think it was alcohol
The
related
cut is
or
made from ear to ear.
hypothermia.
See this? I was taught at this point in time that I have to move my mouse and click it at the same time, but I don't. You just have to click it, but keep it in the middle, and that's why the screen's going red constantly. If you do it too much, too many clicks, it will just... yeah, go like that, go absolutely haywire. And there we go, one
We remove
perfect
the skin and the top
full
of the
Wow.
skull.
grain. And then just like Mr. Burns would do.
Look at me and Davy Crockett.
The ice cream scoop.
After the basic examination, we can see that the
Brains
brain's
really are
cerebral
ugly, aren't
gyri
they?
in both hemispheres
I like
are
this bit,
symmetric.
it jiggles.
Yeah,
The brain looks good.
which is what it
Let's
would
take
do.
a cross section.
I was surprised they actually put stuff like that in the game. It actually wiggles around.
Some pathologists prefer to examine organs without removing them. However, for me, it's much more convenient to examine them on a board, which we'll do now.
Yeah, because I failed so many times. Now we can't.
can't do it without the
We
pills.
can't do anything. He can't without his pills.
Oh, take your gloves off first. Good God, man.
Well,
He's just been holding brain.
it adds to the flavour. I don't know what flavour will be, but still. This
Holding a
here.
long, narrow blade knife in the dominant hand, we slowly cut the cranial nerves on both sides. All the time,
This stuff.
pulling
I've
the
got to now
brain
manoeuvre
towards
my
us.
mouse on my table, keeping it in the fucking barrier there, and if I hit the sides, of course it goes red on the screen again. So I have to manoeuvre my mouse very carefully.
So far, so good.
Brain looks
The
alright.
hematoma seems to have had no effect on the brain. We can rule the fatal accident out as well. Brain is in good condition, so we have no
Straight
choice
away we know
but
the
to
fall
proceed
is
to the
not
internal examination
something
of
that
the
was-
other organs.
What's the cause of death? Now, I would have loved to have
scalpel
done
for
this
my kid.
job. I think it would have been
Same.
brilliant.
The incision should be in the shape of a
Shame
letter
I
Y.
didn't pay attention in school. Although I kind of did, but I just
I did, I
struggled.
just
We
chose
use a
the
deep
wrong career.
cut to reach all the way to the ribs and to penetrate the abdominal wall.
I chose to save lives rather than
All
look at
right.
them when they were
Now we
dead.
peel back and separate the skin.
I don't have the memory to remember names of freaking things. I was impressed with this though, because it
Now
you peel
we
it
need to remove the
all
ribs.
away.
We'll need the
you can
loppers for
see all
this.
the-
Nice. It's called Jack the Ripper, the first achievement.
Quite a satisfying crunch.
Right, so now we've got a good look at the innards.
After
Does anyone
removing the
want
cartilage
to
tissue,
change
we
their
instantly
theory?
notice two
His
things.
lungs
Firstly,
are
there is no
looking.
congestion of the internal organs. This means that
Yes, I
although
was
the
just
Right.
pointing that out
inside the
myself in
didn't
that
kill
bit.
him.
It's like, oh,
Secondly,
fucking lungs, look
the
at that.
deceased smoked like a chippy.
But what else do you
So,
see that
we should take a
could be
closer look at
wrong
those lungs.
before we get into it?
We can see widespread black and tarry deposits caused by smoke. Despite the tragic condition of the lungs, they are not the cause of death. Alice smoked too. It didn't kill her, but... what was I talking about? Lungs. Yes. Advanced inflammation. What now? The syringe. Now's a good time to collect some samples. Specifically 3. From the eye, the heart,
This is something
and
I
the
thought
bladder.
was very
95
unusual. I never
milliliters from the left
would
ventricle
have
should do
thought
it.
of this in a million years. Taking fluid from these areas.
Vitreous humor analysis
Especially
is
the
very
eye.
useful in
Yeah.
indicating long-term alcohol abuse.
I mean,
From
the
the
bladder,
bladder,
of course,
we
but
draw
not the
about
eye.
10 milliliters of fluid.
Yeah, no, I've seen it done.
Now we take our samples to the centrifuge. But before I do that, I need to find my notebook. My dyscalculia means that I always double-check
And
the
now,
settings.
for the notebook.
Please excuse me while I run and fetch it. Let's get back to the examination. We put all of the samples into
Now
the
for the
rotor.
fun part.
Now we set the appropriate time and speed.
Set up our mixing machine. Get the notes up. 15 minutes and 70%. And that's just for the alcohol people. Alcohol is all, you know what I mean.
Alcohol and blood.
And you got one for drug-related stuff, one for drowning victims,
Okay,
water and all that. And
let's
then
roll.
you've got
Well,
other
yeah, it
stuff.
must be for everything.
There's
Must have
so
to do
many
loads.
different things.
Must have to do it for like carbon monoxide
Oh
and things like
shit.
that as well.
The fuses again.
Please, don't get up.
My old but trusted centrifuge.
This
Ideal
would-
for all the fluid tests I need
I
to
would
perform
be
during an
creeped out
autopsy.
right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It creeps me out that there's donuts there.
Donuts are creepy. It's not that bad, it's just a donut.
Where were
Oh!
we? Oh yes, the blood alcohol
That was good.
concentration.
That was a good one.
Yeah, but would you want to eat? At what point would you be
Let's see
cutting
what
up
we
a
got
human
here.
being and then think, pink ice donut? That's what I need.
Everything's separated as it should.
Well, when you work there for so
My
long, you
lab is
don't really
closed until
give a
tomorrow
toss,
after
do
the
you? You're
last,
so used to it.
incident.
They say
However,
don't eat
considering
before
that Toby's
or
favorite
after
photo
doing
of
it, because you'll
foam
just
appears to be
puke it all.
ethanol. I'm guessing the results won't surprise me at
You
all.
used to be like that man in Arachnophobia.
Let's
when they
go
was
further. We will now focus on the
Examining the body and he's
cardiovascular
just in there
system.
eating a
specifically
donut
the
or
heart.
something.
Yeah.
He's just walking around, oh, don't mind me, and all that.
We remove the organ and examine it closely. We look for dark hypoxic areas,
The
clots, or
the
other elements that
ah.
stand out as abnormal.
Doesn't look too bad.
No.
At first glance, the heart looks fine. The pulmonary trunk and aorta seem to be in good condition. There are no pathological changes that would have contributed to Toby's death. Now let's take a closer look at the stomach. Size is normal, healthy,
Next up,
and as expected,
stomach.
the stomach
cut
has
that
no
sucker
major
open.
external damage.
Such a weird looking
We
organ.
must now cut it open and inspect inside.
Very
Do it carefully so
Hmm.
that its contents do not spill out.
Let's dissect the stomach at the cutting board, and then we can have our
We
dinner on
open
it
the stomach
afterwards. See
along
this
the greater
here.
curvature, from the heart to
Lucky
the
for me, I
pyloric
noticed that
end.
was away at the far right.
Oh, I already feel like there's
Very
something left
gently.
inside.
Slice and dice. Well, who's hungry? See what I mean? It's light tap, and you lose the freaking
It's like those
marble.
things, you know, those electric
Oh, those games,
things.
I hate them. Or Operation, I think the game's called as well.
Yeah.
I could never do
But
that
there's
game.
ones,
Still
isn't
can't.
there, where you have to move the ring over things like this.
I can. Actually, I can't do those. My hands are not steady. And mission complete.
Okay, large amount of gas, small amounts of yellow, grayish food content, resembling some kind of meat.
If
Either
anyone's
the
eating
deceased
while
hadn't eaten in
recording
days,
this and you're
or
watching
the
it,
bulk of his stomach had
What are you
already found
eating?
a way out. Looks like I'll have to find the missing contents.
enjoy your meal.
No. They'll be in his bowel or
There are
digestive.
two ways
Right,
here.
I just
One is
wanted-
obvious.
What is-
The food content.
Oh,
that's
food
leaked
we're
out.
talking about.
Stomach.
Oh,
Could
right, I
have been
weren't
suffocation.
paying attention.
Could it? I'll add this to the list and move
Okay,
on to the
so here's the
deceased's
last
neck.
chance. What do you think is the cause of death? We're right near the end.
At first glance, the trachea
I have
looks
no
normal.
idea. I'm still going to stick with alcohol.
Alcohol's cause
Same
of death.
result as with the stomach. The external inspection doesn't tell us anything. This time we'll cut on a tray. While cutting such a small organ as the trachea, we must make a precise incision. To be able to cut with the very tip of the blade, we must hold the scalpel as we would a pen. And after
Ta-da!
careful examination and deduction, we've got it. A clogged trachea. It's time to summarize the whole thing.
Oh, he died of suffocation.
In a way, you was
Based
right.
on the report
It
and
was
preliminary
alcohol related.
documentation,
Even I
it's safe
said
to
it was
assume
alcohol
that the
related.
deceased
What was it,
passed
vomit?
out after consumption of alcohol and then fell
Although
asleep
no
on
one
his
knew
back.
I was saying it was alcohol related because I was thinking it at the time, but of course I didn't record my
Then
voice.
the gastric contents
yeah,
refluxed
it-
and flooded the airways, causing death.
Choked on his own vomit.
What a way to go.
Accidental, of course, due to alcohol.
That's why we don't forget about the recovery position at dorm parties.
Shit, way to go. And we are done
now it's
here.
all clear.
Now we can
The death
sign,
was
which is
suffocation.
the most
Now
awkward thing to do in
signature.
the world when you're using a
The
mouse.
mystery is
and I was
solved.
trying to
But for us,
work out how to do
This
it.
is not the end. First, the dead body
Just
needs to
about.
be cleaned up.
Get it? No, fucking just go for it. Yeah, there you go. That'll do.
I can tell what you've tried to write though.
Yeah.
For this, we will need to close the body and grab the
Let's
needle.
close him up
First,
and
we
send him
unroll the skin flaps,
to his family.
and then
He'll have an
we
open
sew
casket.
the deceased back up. I'm using the baseball stitch technique. This stitching method is very strong
At this point,
and
I
quick
thought,
to do.
fuck, am I going to have to stitch the body? When he said needle and stitch it, oh no. But no, you don't. You just click it and drag it along and it's done. And there you go. We have performed our
Beautiful.
very first autopsy.
Woohoo!
Now we say goodbye to the deceased and put them safely in the fridge,
Put them
ready
in the
for the
fridge
next
and
stage
stay
of their
cool.
journey.
Like the Fonz. Hey.
God, I'm tired. I'll drop these samples off at the lab on the way to the bar.
Who used to watch Happy Days?
Sunday, Monday, happy days.
Oh no, that's
Tuesday, Wednesday, happy
Right,
days.
recording's over.
Stephen.
Has it?
Thursday, Friday,
feel like
happy
talking along
days.
today.
Saturday, do-do-do, we're gonna live for you.
Like a
Goodbye,
slinky.
grey skies. Hello, blue. Oh! That took a turn.
This is what happens when the piranha get you. Nothing left. This was a bit unusual, this part, was you're just spinning around a head and nothing really happens for a little bit and then stuff happens. Like that. Like a
Oh.
cracked egg. And then you spin it a bit more and then my door closes because of the wind. And you spin it a bit more and then
Oh.
it bleeds.
Well, shit.
And then you're in your own nightmare because of course. Where the fuck? What a way to go.
Wow.
He was thinking that at the time.
No, probably not, but to look at is pretty good. Go into the light, Mr. Heckles! It's that episode of Friends where Heckles dies and Phoebe just shouts out, "Go into the light, Mr. Heckles!" Because she says he's still there. They can still feel him there.
Forgive me.
I see.
I have seen.
What? Christ. What a dream. Fuck.
Take your pills in your bathroom. As I have a little look around my flat and admire the mess that is my flat.
Till death
Of
do
course.
us part.
For those who weren't aware, his wife is dead.
Did
It
you
was
do
a
the
miracle
autopsy?
that the coffee
Boilers.
didn't wash off the writing.
I don't know.
And that she said yes. She got it for her first day of work, and she broke it the same day. She said it was for luck.
Twice.
always good to
I
have
didn't want
something
to
for a
click on the
rainy
money,
day.
but I did. Right, what have you been your thoughts on this game so far?
I like it.
Good. For those who want to try it, it's on Steam. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description. It's $20 or 20 odd dollars for you. I'm not sure what your price would be. It's kind of worth it in a way. It's not a true simulator as the name would
It's been
imply.
almost a year.
It is a very linear story-driven game, but overall it is good fun.
So
And if
much
you want to
light
try it for
everywhere.
yourself, I think you'd enjoy it.
Me.
Yeah.
A pill a day keeps the defective Jack away. It's a shame these won't help with my hangover.
It's an interesting
The
looking
fucking phone.
apartment, I would say. Right, we're drawing to a close.
Okay.
Letting these talk.
I know I'm late. I'll be there soon. It's not like the dead are impatient.
Jack, no.
Alice?
Is that his wife?
Who is this?
Well,
It's Charlotte Graves.
Oh,
that bit was
oh God, I'm sorry. I didn't recognize you.
losing his
I
mind
thought,
by the look of it.
I thought it was work calling.
It's okay. I hate it when work calls me at home, too. How is everything? We haven't talked since... you know.
Well, there are good days, and there are bad days. What can I say? At least I can hide away at work.
Well, you always were the most comfortable in the dissecting room. Listen, I have an unusual request.
Okay, how can I help?
It's nothing serious. I just wanted to ask. Do you have any pictures of Alice? Maybe one where the two of us are together? I'd love to have something to remind me of her.
I guess. I'm not sure. I'll look through her things.
Thank you. I'm sorry to trouble you with this. All this can't be easy for you.
I'll get through it somehow. I've been meaning to sort through her stuff for a while. Have you asked Stephen if he has anything?
Yes, I spoke with him this morning. He said he gave everything to their mother and that I should ask you.
I see.
Jack, I know you're trying. That you cope somehow. Steven's there for you. Although, well, we all know how he can be. But, I mean, if you wanted to reminisce about Alice, talk.
I really should go now. I overslept, I'm late for work, and I still have some errands to run on the way.
Oh. Okay, sure.
Right, we'll get this photo sorted for her in the next episode and
Thanks for the call.
post it
And
off
Oh,
to
do you
what
have my
Charlotte,
address?
I guess.
Not on hand.
Well, right, so what have been your thoughts?
It's good.
Perfect. It is good.
It's made me want more.
There is more. There's a lot more. Lots of bodies to go through. Well, I don't know how many exactly, but there is quite a lot more.
So I'm guessing by the thing in the door that you see,
That's okay.
there's going to be
No problem.
a supernatural element to it.
Take care, Jack.
You too, Charlotte.
Possibly.
It was nice to hear you.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see some more horror stuff, check out that card, and we will see you over there. What else should they do?
Hit the like button, ring the bell, and smash subscribe.
Please do all that. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next episode of Autopsy Simulator. Goodbye, everybody.
See you later.